Hello and welcome back to our Drummond channel on Sunday, February 9th. This video is a follow-up to the one I posted Thursday night for Friday's market, and wanted to show how the market responded to, how it reacted to the resistance areas that we pointed out on the video on Thursday night. And I was going to use the intraday charts and go kind of bar by bar, a couple of bars by couple of bars, and to show you how this Holy Grail software sets up a trade with the resistance area. So you can see the two cyan colored rectangles up there. That is the daily 5-1, 5-2 down that we saw, the daily 1-1 high. And then also there was up above here, this is where the monthly 6-1 down, the monthly envelope top, and there was a weekly 6-1 down up there, I believe. And so there's a cluster of higher time period resistance, and we're going to monitor that on the lower time period to see how the market reacted and how we could pick off an entry point should this area of resistance hold. And I have kind of a morbid curiosity with the moment that they release data, especially non-farm payroll. And what you can see is the 30-minute bar activity and the 5-minute bar activity right when they release that data. And then, of course, we've got an hour before the market opens on the East Coast. And it's just moving sideways. And I left these blue marks here are the upper boundary of congestion. And then the lower boundary of congestion is down here in the pink marks, and congestion all the way across until it breaks either above or below when the market opens. So now we advance forward 2 30-minute bars, and we have a bar that's moved up into the resistance area, and then right next to that this oncoming is in the resistance area. So it is, as Charlie likes to say, is throwing a target. That oncoming bar is throwing a target into the resistance area. And then you can see that over here on the 5-minute chart. So prices right here broke out of the congestion confines, a couple of C waves up on a 5-minute, right up into the congestion area, or I'm sorry, right up into the resistance area. And now we see the oncoming marks starting to locate inside that resistance area. Now we move forward a couple of more 5-minute bars, and what we can see on the 30-minute is price holding in the oncoming area, and then we see the 5-minute holding in the oncoming area. This bar closed just above, but it's in the resistance area for the daily. And then also what we talked about before are the wall forming. And now, those of you that are familiar with Drummond geometry, this is a really important bar here. What's happened? This one, let me change my pointer. This one closed up above the envelope top. This one is now closed down below, right at the envelope bottom, down below the PL dot. And it did so in higher time period resistance. So this is the very first sign that this is a time to look at shorting this market. And what tempers your decision, or what makes your decision, has to do with your risk profile and maybe the capital you have, or maybe the time period that you're focused on. But this is the very first indication that there is a short opportunity either at hand or very close to at hand. And now we can see the rest of the story. And that one bar that I was talking about, that is that bar right there. So at the close of that bar, higher time period resistance is holding. 5-minute bar has gone from outside the envelope back inside the envelope, closed at the PL dot. The aggressive Drummond trader is shorting right now. Easy place to put a stop up above the oncomings and see what happens. And if you're in this case, if you're waiting and you're trying to be more conservative, you're looking at an entry down here, which still would have given you a decent return. So there's quite a bit on the table there. And looking at the 30-minute chart, that 30-minute bar held inside the resistance area. It held right at the top of the oncoming. And then this next bar, of course, we see the market break down. From a trade management standpoint, if you did get on this train way up here, keep an eye on these PL dots. Does price get anywhere near the PL dots? And price has no business being above a PL dot in a downtrend like this. So this is an easy way to gauge the strength, or what we call the flow of this market. And of course, the flow on this bar is strongly to the downside. Flow is a little bit to the upside, and then resumes in this bar to the downside. But nowhere did it get anywhere close to the PL dots or holding at the PL dot. And if you are in a short position, where do you want to start paying attention? Well, there is the daily PL dot, and you can see there's some 5-minute oncomings way down here at the daily PL dot. So that's your target area. And as I say, as long as price stays away from these PL dots and keeps pushing down, then this is the target area where you might look to cover. That last set of charts was in TradeStation. This is the NinjaTrader setup that I use. I like this one a little bit better, and let me give you some orientation here. When you see these white lines here, these represent the oncoming of the current bar over here. And this line here, that is the midpoint over here. So this is a 2000 volume bar, or a 2000 volume chart, and on the left is a 10,000 volume chart. And I just think it gives a little bit better detail. So what I was looking at this point was, you have the wall forming up here, you have price on this bar reversing, going into congestion, moving up towards the top of congestion here, and holding here. So I'm waiting to see what this bar does, what happens on close, because at this point, the midpoint right here is still below price. Price is still up above the PL dot. So this isn't a sell yet, but it's, again, in that area where you expect the resistance to hold, and this 2000 volume chart going into congestion is a sign that, yeah, that area's the strength is in the resistance. So now that bar I was talking about before on the 2000 chart, that has broken down and is closed down below the midpoint, down below the PL dot, down below the envelope bottom. So this is a close down below. That means it's a sell. It took place up here, and you can see, this wall is still there. It's still in place. And what I was waiting for was price to get up here, and that's the entry point right there at about 20, 21. And that's what I was looking for to further support that idea that this was strong resistance, was over here on the 10,000 volume chart. The wall is still building. PL dots are starting to move sideways. We had this bar up above the envelope, now returning down and closing just about inside the envelope. So these are all part of the decision-making process, that this area of resistance is strong, it's holding. And going short at this point with a stop right up above, to me, was a low-risk trade. And now again, using this, looking at these PL dots, you see this price just moving down. And what is that right there? That's an exhaust bar. Went way down here, closed back up. That's a good spot to cover. You had a couple of more bars to the upside, or I'm sorry, another bar to the upside, and then the downward trend resumed. And that takes us over to about this area. And then we're into lunchtime, and then the market's moving sideways, and then the downward trend resumed after lunch. But the money in this trade was made right here. This is how the Holy Grail does it. One of the things I don't have turned on here, when I was talking about this being the entry bar, the sell signal, one of the other things you can do with NinjaTrader that you can't do with TradeStation is using candlesticks. When the candlestick, this one would have been perhaps green or red. This one definitely would have been green. So when it changes from green to red, so you have a down candlestick in the area of higher time period support or resistance, the midpoint closes either above or below price, in this case above price, and closes down below the PL dot, red candlestick, those are all entry criteria. So all that would have been met. I don't like the candlesticks. There's more information on the chart that I don't really need. But, those are the elements that make up a sell signal in this case. And it was a very strong one. So going back to what we talked about on Thursday night, is the hidden market structure is visible. We have that information on our chart before the next day even started. And then we sit back and we wait and see how this unfolds. And, this is what you're waiting for. The oncomings to get up into the resistance area, the oncoming to show that they're holding, the price action to move back inside the envelope, yada, yada, yada. This is how a textbook, Holy Grail trade setup operates. So if you have any questions about this, don't hesitate to ask. And, please, if you like these videos, share them and subscribe, and you'll get the updates. And thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next time.